Alright, so I am on the couch today because I'm going to be showing you how I edit my Instagram photos. And I edit my photos just like this. Laying on the couch, in my pajamas, hair in a bun. And I do edit my photos on my iPad, and I also have an Apple Pencil. I do go the extra mile when editing my Instagram photos. It's really just a great creative outlet for me, so I really just get a little crazy with it. This isn't how I would edit like professional client photos. This is really just how I edit my own personal photos for me. So yeah, hopefully you learn some tips and some tricks and get a little bit of inspiration. So without further ado, let's edit some photos. Okay, buckle up kitty cats, because this is my specific workflow for editing photos. This is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But anyway, I always start in Lens Buddy because that's where I take all of my photos, and I just go through all my photos on Lens Buddy, and I like the ones that I like, I dislike the ones that I dislike, and then I go into my liked folder, I select all of them, and then I airdrop them right onto my iPad. So out of the 200 something photos I took, I only liked about 28 photos, and then I'm going to download all those photos into Lightroom. I like to start off by cropping every single photo. And then I'll usually make a preset as well for the specific shoot. I like to mess around with the exposure, contrast, all the lighting, and I like to just really play around with the different settings and see what I like, what kind of vibe I'm going for. And I just play around with all the settings. Now I'm playing around with all the colors. I usually gear things more towards the warmer side and the pinker side. Pink is, like, as you know, my favorite color, so everything has to be slightly pink. Mess with the saturation a little bit, and then I'll go into this really cool color mix. You can pick out each individual color and play around with the hue, saturation, and luminance to really customize the photo. I always like to make my photos look a little vintagey, a little 90s. That's really where my inspiration for photo editing comes from. I like everything to look like a little older as much as I can with modern technology. And then I'll go around, I'll play around with the texture, the clarity, maybe I'll put a vignette on it. I usually don't. And also in Lightroom, you can add some grain to your photos. I usually add the grain to my photos in Procreate. Lightroom is a totally free app. I don't pay for this. I just use the free version. There's obviously a free version and a paid version for everything nowadays. And you can use the grain to get that grainy, gritty, 90s photo, like Kim Kardashian edited photo look. And then I'll go back around and add that preset onto every single one of my photos. And I specifically do it like this so that way I can get familiar with every single one of my photos, and I can really pick out which ones are my favorite, which ones I want to post, and which ones I want to continue editing. Usually I don't put my photos into Photoshop. I really only put them into Photoshop if I have to take something out of the background. For instance, this chicken coop is not the vibe, so I am just erasing it and filling that up with a bunch of trees. I really only use Photoshop if I have to get rid of something like this, or if there's a car in the background that I don't want, or a person in the background that I don't want. That's typically when I will use Photoshop just to get rid of something in the background. Or maybe if like my hair is in the way of something that I'm trying to showcase, I'll use it to get rid of some strands of hair, but usually it's just for background stuff. Okay, now for the fun part. So I use Procreate for editing my photos. Procreate is a one-time purchase of $13, but I literally use it for everything. Procreate is mainly for drawing and stuff like that, but I just love all of the different effects that you can put on a photo. I like using my iPad. I don't want to go on my computer to use Photoshop. I like being able to edit like I'm drawing something. That's where I'm most comfortable. And what I usually do is I'll insert my photo and then I will duplicate it so that way I always have my original photo to go back to if things get crazy. Then I like to isolate the different layers of my photo. So I will isolate the background. So I'm just cutting out myself, inverting, and then copying it so that way I only have the background. And then I can just play around with the colors of the background. Again, I'll just play around with the saturation, the brightness. I'll go into curves and I'll play around with, again, more of the shadows and the different colors. And I really just like to have fun. I really just like to play around and try a lot of different things. I also love the blurs. I always use a perspective blur because I like when the edges look like nice and blurred. I just really like that effect. Then I will go into noise. I love all the grain. I love all the gritty. I love all the noise. I just love that. And then I'll go into my favorite, the chromatic aberration. That's where you can get that RGB effect that really makes it look like it's like an old photo, and I just really love it. It just really makes a photo more interesting and not flat and bland. It just adds so much more dimension to the photo that I just love. So now for the super boring part, now I just have to like erase all the parts like of my body that got selected with the background. So I'm just erasing all the parts of my hair and my hands that have that grain on it. Now you can see what the background looked like before and after. I didn't really have to change too much, but as you can see, it is just like a little bit brighter. It has a little bit more life to it. It has a little bit more interest to it. Now I'm going to just edit me. I really don't do too much. I might play around with the saturation a little bit and maybe the brightness, but I do just really want the highlights to pop. So I usually do that in curves, and I do blur myself just the tiniest bit, like the tiniest blur, because the photo really isn't about me. It's about what I'm wearing. It's about the shirt that I crocheted. So I like to blur myself a little bit. That way the shirt can really stand out. And I give myself a little bit of grain as well. I still want it to match the background and look like it's the same photo. I don't give myself as much grain as the background, but I give myself a little bit of grain and just a little bit of chromatic aberration, so that way everything can kind of blend together in the photo. So now I'm gonna go in and erase the layer that's on my shirt, so that way I just have the original photo of my shirt again, and that way I can just solely edit the shirt. I really don't like to do too much with the products that I'm trying to showcase. I really want it to look as like true to life as possible, but I really do want the things that I make and the things that I'm trying to portray, I do really want those things to pop. So I do just go into curves just a little bit to make it a little bit brighter, and then I sharpen the shirt a lot. I really want it to stand out. I don't like really messing with the colors of the things that I make. I really want the colors to be true to reality. So I'll really only just maybe brighten it up a little bit so that way everything looks cohesive, and then I'll sharpen it a lot so that way you can really see the texture. Then I decided that I really want my teacup to pop as well. It's like my little prop, so I really want that to stand out. So I just selected my teacup and I just played around with a little bit of saturation and a little bit of the curves to brighten it up a little bit. And then as you can see, the before and after, you can really see that me and my shirt is what's popping in the photo. The background is just a little bit darker, but all the colors are just a lot more richer and things are just a lot more interesting. So this is the original photo, not cropped, not edited, nothing. This is the photo that was edited in Lightroom, and then this is the photo that was edited in Procreate. Now I have this other photo that I love. It's with me and my chicken, and I'm in Procreate. You know the drill. We did the Lens Buddy, we edited in Lightroom. Now I'm just in Procreate. And again, I'm just playing around with the background colors, adding lots of grain, adding lots of chromatic aberration because I can, especially because I shot this in like a fisheye lens. I can just really take it to the next level. And then again, I just have to erase all the bits and bobs, all the edges of me and my chicken, so that way I can just edit us together, not with the background. And then I'll go in, I'll just edit me and my chicken, just like make us a lot darker, make our hats and what we're wearing pop a little bit more. I want my chicken to pop a little bit more. And also, yeah, it's all about the hats. So I'm editing me separately, and then I edit my hat. I'm probably gonna add a little bit of saturation. And I'm always going back and forth, seeing what it looked like before, seeing what it looks like now, seeing if it looks good. I think to myself, am I going too far? Am I not going far enough? This is the original photo, this is a photo in Lightroom, and this is a photo after Procreate. And this is just one more photo that I'm showing you. Again, I start by editing the background, playing with the colors, seeing what vibe that I like. This is a much more darker, much more cool toned vibe than the other pictures that I edited before. But again, I'm just playing around with the colors, adding that grain, adding that chromatic aberration. Sometimes I'll make myself, just look a little more tan. I'll make my skin just look a little warmer than maybe it usually does, just because it looks a little better in photos. And then I'm just going to select my shirt by itself and I'm going to make that pop, but I'm not really going to mess around with the colors. I'm just going to make everything pop a little bit more and make things just look a little more cohesive. And then this is a photo totally unedited, not cropped or anything. This is a photo after I edited it in Lightroom, and then this is a photo when I edited it in Procreate. All of this is just for fun. This is my creative outlet. This is what I like to do when I edit these photos. It just makes me so happy. I really like my workflow, and I really like that this is just so easy for me. Editing photos should be easy. It should be fun. It shouldn't be annoying. It shouldn't take hours on the computer. I just really like a streamlined process. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it away, outro, Sutton. And that's how I edit my Instagram photos. You guys know the drill. Make sure to like and subscribe for more hot girl shit. Was that cringy? We're doing hot girl shit on here. I don't know what else to tell you.